Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. As people are entering in the Zoom room, we are so excited for our monthly Woman Up Live. So welcome to this month's edition. And I am Sarah. I'm Sarah Sudachan. I'm CAR's Senior Vice President over all of our strategy and engagement and our Chief Strategy Officer. So I'm pleased to be here. And it is not only Woman Up Wednesday, it is Black History Month. And we, as the Association of Realtors at CAR, are taking this time to reflect the important role of African Americans in shaping the real estate industry, as well as the challenges they've faced, and highlighting and learning from the past is important. You know, we have talked about on these stages and through our fair housing and diversity forums discriminatory practices such as redlining, racial covenants, and housing segregation, how it's limited Black homeownership. And there is still a wide gap in Black homeownership versus that of other racial cohorts. 37% of homeowners in California are Black. And that's pretty much the same as it was when the Fair Housing Act of 1968 was passed. And so it is a disparity that lasts today. But I would love us to take this month to serve as an opportunity. Right? We want to celebrate the progress, highlight the achievements of Black professionals, Black realtors, and homeowners who have broken those barriers. And today we have two amazing women who are here to celebrate with us. And we will get to hear from their wisdom and celebrate their achievements in just a moment. So I will formally introduce them. But we also want to promote fair housing, right? We believe at the California Association of Realtors in equitable access to homeownership, and our inclusion and fair housing objectives are baked into our strategic plan and throughout our offerings for members. And that is important to us. It's important to our leadership team and everybody down the line on our board. And so I don't want to say everybody, but it's important to have those diverse voices at the table. And we want to promote fair housing and reinforce that equitable access to homeownership. And one of the ways to do that I want to highlight is our fourth annual Fair Housing Day happening on April 15th. It's in Long Beach this year, and all the information will be shared in the chat, but you could go to fairhousingcalifornia.org to get the information, how to register, where it is, and it will be an amazing event. And with that, I would love to introduce Meena Patel, who you see on the screen here. She is our brand new, I think almost. She's been with us about 3 months, our Fair Housing and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director. And she's really hit the ground running. She's working with DeAnthony and Ryan J on our DEI and Fair Housing team to get our Fair Housing Day agenda and program and speakers all lined up. But that's not the only thing she's doing. She actually has a background in leadership development and creating inclusive cultures in a variety of settings. She's an attorney. She has a longstanding commitment to women's related issues, including board memberships. She's on the Women Lawyers Association of Los Angeles. She's on her alumni board for her all-girls secondary school. We'll have to talk. I didn't realize that. My daughter's at an all-girls school, so we have some things to discuss. And then she also coaches Girls on the Run. So Meena, welcome, and I'd love for you to introduce you to the Woman Up community here and give us a little bit of more background.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I am so thrilled to be here and to at my first Women Up Live. And I'm so excited about Women Up in June, right? Is that right?
That's
Super
correct.
excited about it. And thank you so much for making time for me on this. I want to be super brief because I know we want to get to Ria and Sabrina, who are kind of our stars today. I did just want to talk for a minute about kind of what we're doing in on my team, which is Fair Housing and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And our main goal, and I've been giving this a lot of thought lately, is to make sure that everyone feels welcome and supported in their participation. So we do this by cultivating collaboration and intentionally fostering this inclusive culture. And as Sarah mentioned, we are weaving this into we're weaving these values into all aspects of our 200,000 member strong organization. It is, as Sarah just mentioned, it is part of our strategic plan and objectives. So we support two specific affinity groups. You might have heard about LPN. LPN is our Latino Professionals Network. It is an inclusive community of realtors dedicated to increasing business opportunities, advancing leadership, and uniting voices to champion access to homeownership in our communities through policy, resources, and education. So LPN is open for everyone and to everybody. And our next meeting is on April 24th at 1 o'clock, and I'm happy to share specifics. And CIR also supports one other affinity group called Differently Abled Affinity Group. We go by DAG. The purpose of the Differently Abled Affinity Group is to advocate and provide awareness to the needs of differently abled realtors and clients. Um, DAG's next meeting is on April 22nd at 10 o'clock, and the topic for that is hidden disability. So that includes physical, mental, and neurological conditions that are not readily apparent to others, but can significantly impact a person's daily living. So I defy you to tell me they're not 90% of the people on this call who may have some kind of hidden disability. I had laser eye surgery years ago, but boy, it's going bad. So I just want to reiterate that I'm so grateful to Woman Up and everybody on this call and to CAR for their kind of unwavering commitment to making sure that everybody feels included and there's transparency about how to participate. And I also really want to emphasize, just as you have with Women Up, that it is open to everybody. Everybody is welcome. And we look forward to seeing you hopefully at one or both of our next affinity groups. So Sarah, thank you so much again. And I'm really thrilled about Ria and Sabrina here. And I look forward to that conversation. So thank you.
Thank you, Mina. And I think we jumped right in, but I want to acknowledge the fact that Woman Up is one of the first affinity groups that we started way back in 2016 when it was an idea and a dream. And we started with our first conference in 2017. And it's really about helping elevate women in the industry and helping them. And thank you to Sabrina, who was on our task force last year, 2 years ago now. It feels like just last year, to help us expand and broaden our mission. And that was to really help women in the real estate industry find their voice in real estate and really just elevate women's voices. So with that, I am absolutely honored to introduce our speakers. So I'm going to start with Sabrina Brown, who will be moderating this conversation. She's a respected real estate broker and co-owner of Pure Real Estate School and a national speaker with over 18 years of experience in our industry. As a founder of Pink Key Real Estate in Fresno, California, I can already hear the woo woo. She's dedicated to fair housing and first-time home ownership. She is a passionate leader and educator. I am firsthand experienced Sabrina's passion. She empowers first-time buyers through hands-on training, education. She's received so many accolades, and some of them are, I'm going to read them because you deserve it. The National Association of Realtors Fair Housing Champion Award. Congratulations, Sabrina. She serves on local, state, and national levels. She's worked with me on strategic planning and finance. She's served on the Woman Up Task Force, and are you currently the current Madera Association of Realtors president, or are you a past president?
No.
Current president, and she is putting out, she's having an amazing event in Madera honoring women of the Women in Impact. And you could talk about that, Sabrina. That's on March 19th. We are happy, proud supporters and sponsors of that event. And then you are also chair of the Broker Engagement Council at NAR. Thank you for being here, Sabrina.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. And I'm really excited about Ria. So
Yes, I know. I'm going to introduce Ria, and then I'm going to let you all run with it. So Ria Cotton Landry is the broker owner of Cotton Realty, a virtual brokerage focusing on economic development. And in addition to residential, commercial, and new development in real estate sales, she's also started property management. So that was something we learned in the green room. Cotton Realty agents are spread throughout neighboring California counties to meet with clients and meet their specific goals and strategy. And what I love about your brokerage is that it's all virtual. It is, she showed me her virtual office, and it is AI, and it's futuristic, and it's amazing. So I also want to say that Ria is Realtus proud. She is the most recent past president of the California Association of Real Estate Brokers, the premier network of Black real estate professionals in California. They include 11 local boards throughout Northern and Southern California. She has also spoken at Woman Up last year. She was as the president of KREB, and welcome, Ria. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I actually have another year with KREB too. So now,
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Yes, that's
yeah,
wonderful.
we extended my stay.
Well, they're lucky to have you, and we are lucky to have you both. So I'm going to pass the Zoom floor on to our amazing guests. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Sarah. Okay, Ria, are you ready for me? Because I have lots of questions for you.
Yes, I appreciate it.
And I did, in the green room, we had a little chat, and I was telling Ria how she is somebody that I look up to. And when people say why, representation matters, she's an example of why it matters. We need people that look like us to be examples for us. And so, Ria, I do absolutely appreciate everything that you're doing out there. I see you. I know other people see you. I'm glad to hear you have another year with KREB. So I want to just kind of jump right in, because when we talk about real estate, everybody thinks it's about how many homes you sell, how much money you make. And that's not what it's really about. It's about community, right? And so when we look at community, there are so many diverse voices in the community. We need to have representation in those seats, those leadership seats that are making decisions on how we're representing our communities in real estate. So my first question for you is, what inspired you to become a leader in real estate? And how has your journey shaped your views on diversity within our industry? I'm going to say that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, first of all. And I love your accolades, and it's great to be an inspiration. I am basically I feel like I'm doing just the work of legacy. I think for me, legacy isn't just what I leave my children, but how I impact the world. So I'm just trying to do my part. But my journey in real estate leadership, it started working for actually on the mortgage side in savings and loans. So I supported loan origination, appraisal, and underwriting. And as I navigated through my career in a support role, I saw the disparities in leadership representation, because I was able to travel across the country in that role on the lending side. And so I had the opportunity to really be the change that I wanted to see. I actually brought it up. I was working for the president's office, and we were out in Southern California, and I said, "Hey, do you realize that I'm the only Black person in this room?" And it was like, a sales meeting, and so with the entire region. And so my manager at the time was like, No, I didn't realize it, but you could do something about it. And I was like, yes, I can. So for on the savings and loan side, I actually started my own branch. So I was able to basically, without having management experience, but knowing what I wanted to see, knowing the experience that I had the great opportunity to start a lending branch. And that's where it really started. And so I was able to, one, provide some diversity in the leadership that people saw. And then I was able to also impact and encourage. And so, yeah, that's basically where my journey started. And then from there, when I was in the lending, I knew my next step is like, I want to open my own real estate brokerage. And I just saw it so clear in my mind. I actually put a picture of my future business card on the mirror in my room because I just could see it so clear.
I love that. I love that. You just jump right in. You like, I see a need, I'm going to speak it and I'm going to make it happen. A lot of times we
Right.
see it, but we don't do anything about it. And
Right.
so you just jump right in. And I think that's the beauty of leadership. A lot of times it's not about filling out an application to lead.
Mhm.
It's about leading from the heart, and it
Exactly.
just happens. It naturally happens. So with
Absolutely.
that being said, as we look at having diverse leadership, because there was no one there, just you, but having diverse leadership in the real estate, how does it lead to, you know, better decision making and innovation, and what does that look like, and why do we need diversity within our leadership ranks?
Yes, yes. So basically it all starts out with culture, right? So a lot of what's behind diversity is the culture, our upbringing. And so our culture really influences how we perceive and interact in real estate. Right. So, for example, based on our cultural background, real estate can just be seen as a means of a place to live where no one can actually kick you out, but not necessarily have the background to see it as a vehicle for generational wealth building. And so diverse leadership really brings a range of perspectives, experiences, and problem solving approaches, leading to just more well-rounded ideas of how to service our community.
Yeah, and I love that. And when you talk
Mhm.
about innovation, it's, people have different life experiences.
Mhm.
And when they are sitting around the table, you're able to have, those conversations where it's like, oh, I never would have thought of that.
Right.
And it gives them different perspectives. It's funny. I sit on the board of Habitat for Humanity, and we're on their strategy team, and we're having conversations. I'm the only one in the room that looks like me, but when we're having those conversations and bringing that different perspective, I think it's really important too. The people around the table have to be open to that as
Right.
well.
Mhm.
And just, being open, everybody learns from everybody else. And if everybody has the same background, you're never learning anything.
Mhm.
So, I just love the fact that, having those wide range of voices gives us different perspectives and also gives us the opportunity to learn and grow from each other. Now, I want you to talk about, give us some examples of how your organization or any initiatives that you know of that have successfully embraced diversity in leadership and have seen really, truly positive outcomes.
Well, honestly, I have to say it's CAR, the California Association of Realtors. Like I am loving the collaboration that we have and we've been having. Last year was phenomenal. So how we're able to interact with each other. You mentioned there was mention of the Latino Professionals Network, the differently abled, the African American real estate professionals that are focused on bringing more African Americans into leadership in CAR. So I think that CAR is an example, an excellent example of driving that because we're all, at the end of the day, we're all realtors. And so CAR is by far the best catalyst for all of us to come together because of the ability to bring all the associations together. So I think it's you guys are doing an excellent job at CAR leadership. Yeah. for
Oh,
sure.
thank you. I thank you. I think they are too. And I'm gonna have to shamelessly give Woman Up a plug because that is one of their diversity groups. And just thinking of all the women that are in real estate, but it really is, we want to say it's really ran by men. Most of the men are in leadership positions, the women are not. But to
Mhm.
have a place and a space to have a voice as a woman in leadership, I think is amazing. So I have to give it to CAR, to Sarah, for putting that together for us to have these conversations. Just think about us being here, me having the opportunity to interview you, all came from Woman Up.
Yeah.
And who would have thought that? Like sometimes I think our voices get lost. But having a place to give us that voice is really important. So I want to throw a little bit of kudos out there to them, as well as all the other Infinity groups. I had someone say to me before I was in a meeting, and they said, "Why do we need any of the Infinity groups? We should just have one. We're all the same." But at the end of the day, we are not all the same. We all have different experiences, and people need a place and space where they might feel comfortable enough to have those open conversations and then move it forward to like the CARs and the NARs. But we have to have an individual place where, we have a safe place to have conversations and then we can take it further. So, the affinity groups, I think, are absolutely necessary. But I think we need our allies as well. And I see CAR as our ally in promoting diversity in real estate. So,
I definitely tell my leaders in KRAB, this is your safe space. So, if there's something that you want to try out that you haven't done before, this is your safe space for us to support each other and learn and then take it out into a larger audience. So definitely a safe space is so needed and important because we can be very critical of ourselves because of our challenges.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I want to ask you, what are some key reasons why representation at the leadership level matter? Not just for the profession, but really for the communities. Why does that matter?
I think that just reflecting on the communities that are served, we benefit from leaders, as I mentioned before, that understand our culture. And then that could also be financial challenges. So one thing that's very important to me, especially having a lending background in real estate, is a lot of people say, well, a realtor told me when you're ready, we'll go out and look for property. What does ready really mean? And I always say, I don't want to start when you think that you have a pre-approval in hand, because there may be some barriers that you don't know how to overcome just getting to that pre-approval process. So for me to understand the challenges of the community, I can say, no, my relationship with you starts when you decide that you want to create generational wealth and own a home and have that asset for yourself. Because it may start at, and this is where being a leader and being a community leader is involved. It's not just creating an opportunity for a commission. It's actually walking in them through, like, this is how credit works. And these are the things that have happened, or some challenges in your life where you may have thought, oh, well, I co-signed on someone's car and but I'm not going to pay it because they didn't pay it. No, this is affecting long term how you're going to face the world, and when you're developing your generational wealth and your assets. And so how do we overcome that? How do we get through that? And then also just to be encouraged. It's very discouraging, especially in a low inventory market, that home ownership is even possible. So being that encouraging voice and showing examples and success stories of people that have overcome those obstacles is so important in being a leader.
Yeah, I absolutely. Now, where were you when I was getting ready to buy my first house? So no
Right.
one had that conversation. No one had that conversation. And it's funny that you say that, because I think it's really important to have those conversations within your community about what that looks like. Because I didn't buy my first house into my late 30s, not because, and the funny thing is, not because I couldn't afford it, not because I didn't understand what credit, about my credit. I didn't understand the benefits of home ownership. That was a conversation that I didn't have. And I had no one that actually had that conversation with me. And I had to figure that out on my own. And that's one of the reasons why I got into real estate. I said, I know there's more people that are just like me that are throwing their money away renting when they could benefit from home ownership. And so there was no conversation. So I think that is very crucial and important to have those conversations. And so I absolutely are 100% believe that having those conversations and communication is the key to building that. We need to have more people having more conversations about what that looks like. So, like I said,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and just keep giving you accolades. I see what you're doing, and hats off to you. I'm watching, and I
Oh,
want,
yeah.
and
The
you never
the
know who's
benefits are
watching.
right. No, the benefits are really important. So honestly, I'm just going to be transparent. When I think of home ownership, the only benefit I saw is I saw both my grandma, my grandmothers, as single women own property. So I'm like, the only benefit I saw is that you can be your own woman, but I didn't see the value and the growth after that. I wasn't educated on that. I just knew like, well, if a woman wants to get divorced, they can buy a home by themselves, you know? Definitely, the benefits are important.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. That's life experience, what we see, how we grow up, and it all directs that and affects that. And so just being able to have a conversation with someone that you're comfortable with and
Mhm,
trust. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing when you look at diversity in the community.
mhm,
You have to be going to someone that you truly trust and that really truly represents you in a sense that you understand that they may understand your experiences, and
mhm.
so when they're having those conversations, they're comfortable having those conversations with you.
Right.
Now this is a fun one. So when we look at some of the biggest challenges women of color face when trying to break into leadership roles in real estate, and what does that look like? What are those challenges? What challenges did you have?
Well, I would say in leadership, I guess maybe access to the mentorship. So if there's a shortage of women leaders or people that look like you, or you feel like there's so much involved in it, because I feel like there's like high scrutiny and a need to like prove your expertise. And so you're always working and going the extra mile. And so then it's like, okay, where do I find a mentor? And does she have time for me? And then I get that. And so I always, when people reach out to me, I'm like, yeah, of course we'll meet. I had somebody reach out to me. I had it was the daughter of someone that I knew locally in the community. And she was like, do you have time to meet with me? I know you're so busy. And I'm like, no, like this is why I took a leadership role. Let's meet. Let me see how I can support you. So really trying to find the person that's really going to open up to you and give you those nuggets that you need to succeed. I think is a challenge. And then just the need to prove your expertise. So honestly, when I started in lending, I went in knowing I just had the mindset, work 10 times harder than everybody else, because you're going to have to prove that you're as good as if as anybody else that you're competing against or working alongside of. So that is that can be really challenging and hard and really stressful, because we are women, right? So it could be stressful on the body, and there's a lot of health issues that can come with that stress. And I never want to overlook that, like that we are women and we're made differently, and the amount of stress that we can take on, we have to realize how it affects our body and our livelihoods.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, and it's funny because we're here and we're talking about women, but and there's like a disparity in leadership just for women in general. But then when you look at Black women in
Mhm.
leadership, it's even bigger. And you just hit on a point that really hits home. You have to work 10 times harder than everybody else just to be even almost partially seen, not
Right,
even seen.
right.
And knowing that it does take a toll on you, and it's not even just sometimes a health toll, it's a mental toll,
Mhm.
you know, and people don't see that. So just know that, you know, when you see a Black woman in a leadership position, I guarantee you she belongs there because she had to work 10 times harder than everybody else to get to that seat. And
Right.
just being in that seat, she's being watched and it's being waited on for something to happen to say that she wasn't supposed to be there. So that causes a lot of, you know, mental anguish too, you know, so just working that 10 times harder. So
And then we don't hear it as much now, but like when I started off in the lending side, you have that stigma of the mad Black woman or the angry Black woman syndrome. And so our passion and our assertiveness can be seen as a negative. And so then you're like balancing, you know, how do I assert myself, but yet not seem overbearing or trying to appease others to basically even fit in is a big challenge.
yeah, so let's talk about that. Like, what are some of the biases that are out there, some of the stereotypes that, you know, that actually become like obstacles? And how can we get past those?
Mhm. I think, like I mentioned before, you know, that angry or mad Black woman, I think that's one of the biggest ones. I think over time, my hope and goal is to really express the passion that we have behind exceeding and having platforms like this so that you understand our path to leadership, our path to where we want to go, what obstacles we had to overcome, and to understand that passion and see where does that passion lie? Where is it driven from? A lot of us, I mean, when we think about, we opened the session by saying 37%, there's a 37% rate of Black home ownership. And when we look at even closer through our State of Housing in Black America report, the highest percentage is first Black women, then Black married couples, and then last on the list is Black men. So as far as Black women in moving forward in this goal for generational wealth, we tend to be the providers. If a family is separated, we tend to be the providers of the children that are left out of relationships. And so there is a need to not only survive, but also we know that we have to leave that path. We know that struggle. And personally, for myself, I feel that struggle. Like if not anything else, I know how important it is for me to have a legacy and to teach generational wealth to my children because it hindered my growth in not understanding that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we have that we you know have some of those stereotypes, some of those biases, and I want to share one that I this was personal to me. I received this. It was no, I didn't receive it because I didn't accept it. You
Right.
only got that position because you were Black.
Wow.
And you know, and at the end of the day, um, you know, for someone to say that, you know, is very disparaging. I work very hard for the things that I have, and very hard for the positions that I've held, and I work very hard for the people around me. So to have that type of um, you know, bias or stereotype, and it came from another woman on top of that. So, you know, to have that, and I don't know if you've had any personal experience of that, but what would you tell someone that, you know, what is that obstacle or having that conversation, you know, what would you tell somebody? What would you like? Would you even respond? Like,
Well, let's start
how would
off
you
by the
handle that?
fact that where that statement first is a disrespect.
Yep.
It's disrespect and it's a lack of understanding.
Yep.
So, do you know anything about my accolades, my work, my any accomplishments that I've made? So to make that blanket statement, that shows that there needs to be more understanding of individuals, of people, because you can't decide that you're going to make an assumption about somebody without knowing anything about them,
Yep.
without knowing anything about them. Like how it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to anything that you've accomplished throughout your life to even say that to you. And then it goes back to them. So for me, in my experience, how I take things is that's a them problem.
Yeah.
You know, it's not my problem. You know, it's their problem that they lack the ability to understand people or individuals, you know. And so that's really how I respond to people or any adversity, really. I try to take on the like some people say, there's so much that you do and handle, and you just seem so calm. And I was like, yeah, because I see it as a them problem. Let's uncover how to help them because I know it's not my problem, you know.
I love that. And that's the attitude I had because I was like, well, and you got to sometimes consider the source. So,
Right.
and I thought, and I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, that's your personal thoughts. And that's really none of my business. And you really didn't have to share that with me.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, you know, it's still out there. So sometimes you have to be able to just like, you have to let it roll off and keep going. So and I think when we look at it, for every person that's, feels comfortable saying it out loud, there's probably 10 people that do not.
Mhm.
But we just keep pushing it forward and moving forward. So we're going to get off of that. So we're going to get off of that subject. And then we really want to talk about creating an inclusive culture in our real estate organizations. And I want to talk about that because I know I belong to a lot of different organizations, and I feel like it's for my personal growth and also the growth of the organization to have different representation. So, what steps can organizations take to create a truly inclusive culture beyond just hiring more diverse candidates?
Well, even within our own organization through KRAD, we just had that discussion. And like you said, it's an opportunity for learning and growth. And so even as a Black organization, we have recently talked about how we want to be more involved in other diverse cultural organizations and what they're doing, what are their challenges. So it's not just about our challenges, it's really understanding all the diverse sectors and what their challenges are, because we are not only working to empower our group, but we want to empower others too. So really getting involved in the diverse organizations that are out there outside of us so we can have a more general understanding of challenges. And so I would say that would be one. And then from there, as we're learning about their differences, then providing training for leadership and see, okay, what are our issues? What are others' issues? And then maybe how can we collaborate together to work better together to address them as a collective. So we're really working to focus on not only our own initiatives and events, but those of others so that we can open our minds as well.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's about everybody being open-minded and willing to collaborate. And it
Mhm.
kind of takes me into our next question, our next question and our next little section we want to talk about. And that's the power of allyship and supporting those diverse leaders. We want to talk about what that looks like. What does true allyship look like in the real estate industry? What does that look like? Is that mentorship? Is that speaking up? I mean, what does that real allyship look like?
Mhm. So, what does allyship look like? That is basically, we want to know that you're representing us when we're not in the room, right? So um, when there are conversations going on that we're not a part of, that our allies are amplifying our voices for the tables that we don't have seats at is one. Calling out biases when you see it. So, making people aware of the biases that they have, and not in a disrespectful way, but really, through the allyship and understanding more diverse cultures, when you see others that are making that mistake or generalizing, to actually correct them or call it out or provide some informative information that could help them expand how they think. and what they think. And then also, providing access, to opportunities that you see are available, just maybe the information, because if there's a closed group talking about opportunity, how does it really get out? It would be the help of the allies that would help expand the opportunity by sharing that information of opportunities that we may not be privy to in closed door conversations.
Yeah, because we all travel in different circles.
Right.
And that's the thing. So let us into the circle. Like, let us into the circle. We'll let you into our circle. Let us into your circle.
Exactly.
So how, and this is like, how can women in real estate support and uplift other women in real estate, in particularly women of color?
Mhm.
How can,
Um,
yeah, how can we be supported? How can we support each other?
mhm. Well, I definitely think that women groups, maybe even forming like mastermind groups, especially women of color in the real estate industry, having mastermind groups to share opportunities, to support one another. There are things that, and I always bring it back to just mental wellness and health, just from my own journey and experience. But there's a lot of things that go on that are more common in African American women than other women that can affect how we operate in our business. And so one thing is really advocating for each other and supporting each other through mastermind groups for opportunities and just in life. I had an issue where, I started my brokerage, and there's a very high percentage of Black women who suffer from fibroids. And so and that have hysterectomies. So in that space, I had a lot of challenges, and having other women, because NARAB does have a women's council piece. And so around that time, I was Women's Council of NARAB president. And so in sharing my experience, because I couldn't, go out in public, I couldn't be out for long periods of time during certain times of the month where I was battling with fibroids. And I was able to uncover that this was a common issue among other Black women in my community. And I was able to get support from other Black women that either were going through it and weren't talking about it, or had been through it, and really getting me through a difficult time in trying to run my business, be a leader, and all of that. And so for me, I was like, why aren't we talking about this more? I'm suffering here. This is horrible. Like, I can't believe so many women are suffering like this and not talking about it. And so really having groups dedicated to Black women, I think we can, understand just one example of how, someone understood what I was going through and was able to support me because we had that group or that network that I could open up to. So not even just masterminds for business opportunities.
Yeah, I love that. It's personal too. We go through so many different things when we go through leadership, running a business, all of those things. But then there's also that personal side of it, and being able to have those conversations with others is truly important. And mentally, it's important. So you want to feel like you're being heard, not just in business, but in your personal life as well. And what can make that better? Can you
Right.
share with us? Like, just give us one example. I'm going to have you give somebody a shout out. Who is one person that has mentored you through something, or mentored you um, to help you get to the next level? Like, who was that person and what did they do? What does that look like?
Yes. So I'd have to say it's the late Georgia Richardson. So Georgia Richardson is a real estate broker. And when I met her, she really took me under her wing, and she saw my drive for leadership and community. And she said, Ria, you have to be at the city council meetings. You have to be in front of the community leaders, the government officials that are going to make the change that will impact us. And she was very instrumental in how I showed up in doing that. I mean, she called me at 8 o'clock in the morning. "Hey, Rhea, City of Oakland's having something. Can meet me at 9. We're going to meet such and such, and they're talking about housing." And I'm like, okay, and I was just like, I thought I thought I was doing a lot, but I'm like, she's like, "Oh, no, no, you need to do more. You need to be here. We have to expand. We have to show up." And so I have to definitely say that Georgia Richardson was definitely a mentor in how I showed up as a leader for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. And now I'm going to put it on the audience. I'm just going to put it out there. You're out there, you're in the chat. I want you to put a name of someone that has mentored you on your journey, whether it's business, personal, leadership. Put their name out there. Put their name out there. Let's spread some love today. Let's support another woman today. It could be a man. A man could have mentored you. So let's put it all out there. We all want to participate. We want you guys to participate. Let's put some positivity out in the world. Now, Rhea, I'm going to ask you, because we are here. We're here for Black History Month.
Right.
Why is it important to celebrate Black History Month within the real estate industry?
Um, it's so important to celebrate Black history because just as I mentioned with Georgia Richardson, it's so important to understand the plight and the mission and the legacy of the people that came before us, and really just paying homage to the people that came before us and provided us the opportunity as Black people to get to where we are now. And so I say it a lot. I'm like, I do it for the ancestors. And one thing that I think when I think about less legacy, what would my ancestors want me to do? And so I think that celebrating Black History Month is really paying homage to those that risked and gave of their lives so that we can be better as a people, and we cannot disrespect them by ignoring their greatness.
I love that. I love that. That's it in a nutshell. That's exactly. So how can organizations ensure that diversity and inclusion efforts continue year round and are not just performative during the Heritage Month? So how can we make sure that we're celebrated all year? Like that we like not only but celebrate everybody, celebrate all communities. How can we make sure that everyone is celebrated throughout the year, and that we don't just pinhole it for a month, so
Right.
what does that look like?
Well, I think that one, it's basically standing firm and strong and in solidarity around having these days and these months to celebrate, and not having them be disregarded in any manner within the organizations that we're a part of. Providing ongoing education and initiatives around understanding and supporting, and how we support diversity and inclusion. And then also, things that focusing on the metrics, it's not just the fact that we are focusing on Black home ownership, but we're looking at the numbers, and we're in a state of emergency, and we're all one people at the end of the day in this country. So why not focus on Black home ownership as real estate professionals if the percentage is the same that it was years ago? It's a state of emergency for me, and it should be for all of us.
Yeah, and so something's missing. There is definitely something missing, and yeah, it needs to be addressed. And I think that, you know not everybody looks at the numbers, and everybody says, oh, well, everybody has the same opportunities. And that is not necessarily true.
Right, right.
And so,
Oh,
because,
and we talked about those close conversations. So how
yeah,
can I have the same opportunity when there's already an establishment of a system that has not opened any doors or will not open a door for me? How can I get into the room if, it only makes sense.
yeah, that absolutely. So I'm going to ask you this. What are some actionable steps that viewers can take? Well, they are viewing us, they're listening to us, some will be listening later. Um, can take to evaluate and improve their own leadership practices regarding diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, I would say one is, join organizations like NARAB just for understanding and support, is one thing. We have in KRAB, we have what we call subscriber membership, and it's for non-real estate professionals that support the mission. So there may be people not even in the real estate industry that support the mission, that want to see an increase in Black home ownership, and they're passionate about it. And so we have the subscriber membership available in our local boards so that non-real estate professionals can come and support us as advocates. So if we're showing up at a city council meeting, and we're kind of few and mighty, we can be stronger with the collective of our communities that support where we're going with our conversations. And so, even if not joining an organization, even attending diversity focused real estate conferences, and groups for better understanding. And I think that is just a great first step. If you haven't already, just attend something that is diverse in nature to what you're used to expand your mind.
Yeah, I love that. And it is an expansion of your mind because you learn different, like I said, everybody has different experiences. So being able to actually experience it for yourself, having those conversations, having a deeper understanding of someone else's journey is so crucial. I want to ask you this. Are there any, and I know there are, so I'm not going to say any, who are Black real estate leaders, past or present, that really truly inspire you?
Well, I have to say, because I'm like hyper focused on her right now, it's Evelyn Reeves. She's out of the Los Angeles area. And so she had a leadership role as our national president for the National Association of Real Estate Brokers as a Black woman. And just to hear just her journey, even in the African American community, about being heard as a woman and getting it through the door as a leader in even our own organization led by men, is so inspirational. So when it comes to real estate, I see her, I admire her so much. And then I expanded my business from residential real estate to property management, and she's doing a phenomenal job in her years of being in real estate, of property management. And so right now I'm learning from her. I'm just like a sponge, hearing all her stories of, her really just commanding the room. I so appreciate her. And so it's so great to have a living legend that you can feel, hear, and touch, because that really, really inspires me and gives me direction on what I can accomplish for myself. And I see her definitely as a mentor.
Okay, thank you. I love that. And it's like, I feel like it's very important for those that are helping you, that are shaping you and supporting you through your leadership journey, that you actually give them kudos,
Right.
that you actually let them know they're making a difference in your life, because they truly are. And a lot of times I think that they're the unsung heroes. We don't give people the accolades that they deserve. They don't even know what they're doing to make a difference for somebody else. So whenever you get an opportunity, I'm just going to tell, I'm putting it out there again. Make sure you let that person know, those people know, that they are making a difference. And guess what? It'll encourage and inspire them to do it for others, to do it for
Yeah.
more. And so,
Yes.
and that's what we want. That's how we're going to build up our community.
Definitely. My husband was able to meet her at a conference. He joined me for one of the conferences, and he was like, "Oh, I know all about you for Maria." And she was surprised, like, "Oh, really?" And I'm like, "No, definitely. You
Mhm.
definitely inspire me." So, and it helps you, even just hearing you, Sabrina, and I thank you for the support. I think you're phenomenal. And so, but just hearing that, that you inspire somebody really helps you keep going when you feel sometimes defeated, you're tired, you don't know if what you're doing is making an impact. Because there's many days where I can honestly say that I feel that, and so hearing people like yourself say that to me, believe me, it's so impactful. It's just in me and my journey, and I appreciate you for that.
Oh, thank you. And I'm like, and I'm going to tell you, people say I'm mean. I'm not going to say it if I don't mean it. You might like it or you might not like it, but I'm going to say it.
Thank you. Okay. That really means something.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
So I know it's getting close to time and I want to wrap up because I know Sarah has some things to kind of wrap us up. If there is one key takeaway that you'd like the audience to know today, to remember from this discussion, what would it be?
Wow. Key takeaway. I think that if not anything else, it is so imperative that we work together for the greater good. So, understand the diversity that we are privileged actually to have in America, and embrace it and create a stronger community from it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ria. It was my absolute pleasure to be here with you. I'm going to hand it back over to Sarah and we can wrap this puppy up.
Wow, 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 wow. I was side chatting with my team. I was texting. I was in the chat. I learned so much from both of you. And I think one of the key takeaways for me is that these conversations are so important. They educate us, they illuminate different perspectives, and it gets us to a better outcome. So thank you both so much. I loved the them problem. I'm going to quote Ria on that. I also love that it's none of my business, Sabrina. So thank you for that. You've reminded us that respect is a key component to every conversation we are in, every room we sit, every table we sit at, with our clients, with our teams, with our boards. So thank you. I was thinking about Maya Angelou quote, and it was like, now I know better, now I need to do better, right? And I'm paraphrasing, but that's really what you made me think about today. And so I thank you both for your time. I know it's very valuable. And so thank you all for being here. I did want to say to all of you in the audience and listening to the replay, this will be on our blog. Go to iamwomanup.com. We will have the replay up very soon. And I hope we were talking about listening to our replays while we cook dinner, right, Ria? And on our walks. And so I encourage you to re-listen and just soak in the wisdom of these two amazing leaders. Please join us June 11th for our 9th annual Woman Up conference. We will be in Pasadena at the Westin Pasadena, and we will have a special promo starting on February 28th. Special for Women's History Month. And so I invite you all to, if you haven't already got your tickets, wait till the 28th and we will see you there in person. And I know these two ladies, hopefully they'll be there as well. And thank you all. We appreciate you. Have a great Woman Up Wednesday.
Oh, Sarah.
Yes.
I forgot something.
Please.
I have an event. It's a mini Woman Up in Madera, because inspired by Woman Up, we have a panels and speakers. It's going to be half a day. And it's women who lead and inspiring and building legacy. And it's all because of Woman Up. We're putting this on. So I wanted to give you kudos for inspiring me to actually give other women the opportunity to have a voice as well. So sorry, I forgot to say that. I'm like,
no, March 19th, Madera. Where will it be?
Madera. Yes. Find me on Facebook. You'll find it.
All right. Find Sabrina on Facebook. Connect with both Ria and Sabrina. And thank you all for being here. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.